Hi there, I'm Robert Hammond. I'm a conspiracy theorist researcher, occult researcher. Um, you may recognise me from the previous videos I've done on Julian Huxley, Aldous Huxley, Vance Packard, and the last series of videos I've done was about the New Age religion and how it interconnects with Christianity, and that was the last one I did. And basically, I've been following these kind of topics for a few years now, and looking into this. And um, these series of videos are going to connect with Aldous Huxley's A Brave New World. But what it is for quite a while I've been looking at the media. I mean, I don't watch TV at all, really, but I follow the newspapers and magazines and things like that. And every now and then, or quite frequently, something crops up where it is just literally straight off the book of A Brave New World. It's when you connect the dots, as they say, it's really obvious. And so I thought it's quite important when I see something to stop and bring it up and make a video of it. And there's one here in the Daily Mail on Sunday where, it made me spit my coffee out. Here it is. The title is called "Stop Calling Them Boys and Girls." Schools told. Here it is here, and I've underlined bits for me to help me. And it's about transgender children. It's a book called Can I Tell You About Gender Diversity by somebody called C.J. Atkinson. And to me, it just reinforces what I've been saying in the previous videos about how we're being shaped, we're being, socially engineered, and we're being, I believe, physically changed as well. Yeah, it reeks of A Brave New World, basically. And if you haven't followed the other videos, I mean, the basics of A Brave New World is, people are owned by the state. Their lives are 100% dictated to by the state. It's a scientific dictatorship, a scientific utopia. People are living in. They're born in hatcheries, artificial wombs, basically. Most people are clones of one another, so it's all unnatural. And one of the key points in A Brave New World is the remodelling of human society and human sexuality, and what sex is for. And the restructuring of human society regarding who raises children, which in A Brave New World is the state. Not families, because the traditional family doesn't exist. There are no parents. Big Brother, makes all the decisions, including them teaching them what sex is for and how families are a burden or a thing of the past. And they also encourage homosexuality, and this makes sense. That's in A Brave New World. They encourage that because homosexuals can't naturally have children. And the same is for transsexual people as well, which is right on topic. So, before I discuss this, let me read it to you. Okay, so here goes. Right. Children as young as 7 are to be taught in schools to stop using the terms boys and girls, in case they discriminate against transgender pupils. A guidebook for teachers, parents and pupils is to be sent to schools around Britain that advises against using language that suggests that there are only 2 genders. It also outlaws saying ladies and gents. Instead, the book, described as damaging by critics, offers a bewildering array of alternative terms to describe gender and sexuality. Children who think of themselves as being the gender with which they were born are described as cisgender. Other terms offered include panromantic, intersex, and genderqueer. Strange, I know. I've basically written these down, and we can afterwards. I'll discuss with you or what these words actually mean. So reading on. The book Can I Tell You About Gender Diversity also features the use of hormone blockers by a fictional 12-year-old transitioning from female to male in order to stop the onset of puberty. The treatment is controversially available to children on the NHS, as first revealed by the Mail on Sunday. Billed by the publishers as the first book to explain medical transitioning for children aged 7 and above, it is distributed by Educate and Celebrate, a government-funded body that goes into primary and secondary schools to give lessons on gender diversity. The organisation received $200,000 of taxpayers' funding from former Education Secretary Nicky Morgan and is endorsed by Ofsted. Earlier this year, the watchdog described as innovative and visionary their work educating staff and children on gender and sexuality. But politicians and leading religious figures last night lambasted the advice to stop saying boys and girls as damaging. The book follows Kit, a 12-year-old who is transitioning from female to male, and features illustrations that may appeal to young readers, including one of a gender-neutral unicorn whose genitals are masked with a star. A key passage from the book advises that the use of boys and girls excludes transgender children and reinforces the idea that there are behavioural differences between the sexes. So they're saying there are no behavioural differences between the sexes. Former Tory party chairman Lord Debbitt said, "I think it is damaging to children to introduce uncertainty into their minds." Sir Anthony Seldon, the former Master of Wellington College, said, "We have to respect the feelings of everybody, including teachers and parents who want additional models followed." And the Bishop of Chester, the Right Reverend Peter Forster, added, "This is likely to sow more confusion than clarity." As an alternative to using the terms boys and girls, the book by C.J. Atkinson, a poet, academic, and trans advocate, suggests it may instead be preferable to group students into classes or houses or pupils. In another part of the book, Kit talks about his fictional school, explaining that when children in his class were split into groups, they were divided by numbers or heights. Kit says this meant that when we were asked to do something, I didn't feel that I was weird or different. Other labels in the book include trans man, which describes a man who is born female but who identifies as male, trans woman, which indicates the opposite, and panromantic, someone who has a romantic attraction towards people of all gender identities. The book will be released by publisher Jessica Kingsley next month. Educate and Celebrate, which holds hundreds of workshops in schools, will send copies to the 120 best practice schools with which it works. It expects hundreds more head teachers to buy the book. Founder Ellie Barnes, who was awarded the OBE for her contribution to education, equality and diversity, said the book was much needed. She added, "Not everyone identifies as male or female. That is a fact." And there's a little caption under the picture here. Children as young as 7 will be taught to stop using the terms left. And here it says, the use of language in general throughout the school should veer away from the idea that there are only two genders. Using such language as boys or girls or ladies and gents is not only exclusionary to trans-identified and gender-variant young people, but subtly reinforces that gender is a significant difference about behavioural patterns. Gender is a significant difference about behavioural patterns, and so they're saying that there really is no difference between boys and girls. You know, it's all maybe you know, the way that we're raised. Maybe I'm just trying to kind of throw some thoughts in on this. It does remind me of the first series of videos I've done when I was looking at Julian Huxley's book Essays in Popular Science. One of the chapters was discussing that are gender differences biological, or is it just because of the way we're raised? So that, you know, I mean, technically that means that if you raise a boy as a girl from birth, they're not going to really know much difference. It's all about how we're programmed. It's not a biological thing, which I don't agree with. But that's one of the ideas the book was thrown out there, I think, and you know, connects with what I just said, I think. Yeah, shocking stuff, isn't it? I say it reeks of a brave new world, and that's why I brought it up here. Very, very interesting, and I've I looked up all these words they're using: cisgender, panromantic, intersex, genderqueer. I mean, are these words to be taught to 7-year-olds? You know, and let's just look at the word cisgender. It says here, I looked it up on Wikipedia. It is a term for people who have a gender identity that matches the sex that they were assigned at birth. It is the opposite of the term transgender. So then, yeah, normal children would be a cisgender. You know, that's what they'd call them. They're called boys and girls who identify with the gender that they are. Cisgender, that's what that means. So cis male assigned male at birth, and cis female assigned female at birth. The other one, panromantic, asexuals who seek romantic relationship for a variety of reasons, including companionship, affection, and intimacy, but they are not sexually attracted to their romantic partners. The sexual counterpart to panromantic is pansexual. So that's interesting. So they're saying they don't really have any sexual desire. They just seek intimacy, like what, love or something like that. So there's your panromantic. I've got a whole list here. Bear with me because time's running short. Talk about that in part 2.